So today's project is stripping, but this old cedar chest right here. So this cedar chest was built back in 1995. I built it actually for my bride, and so it's 27 years old. And I didn't know exactly what I was doing at the time when it came to finish, and so I actually used a tung oil finish, which isn't bad, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I put too much of it on there, and it became gummy over time. And so you can kind of tell here, if you look, this is where it was resting against the bed, and you can kind of see some, and it's just gotten, because it's gummy, it's gotten a little furry. So we need to be able to take off the excess finish, and it should be just fine after that.
So the tools we're going to be using is this citrus strip, a steel wool, grade 3. This is the coarse stuff. This is for the heavy, getting the heavy stuff out. But then you've got this 4/0 steel wool, which is almost just like felt. It's really, really fine, and that's just for your final buffing, make it nice and smooth. Scrubby, scrub, scrub.
Wipe it all down. And any professional woodworker will tell you the only suitable rag for removing varnish and other things are old boxer shorts. Before and after, but certainly not done. One thing I wanted to point out was I'm uncovering some really kind of hidden gems here that I had forgotten about. See how this spacing is different? And I had mentioned before that I did all this by hand, meaning by hand saw. And so I was trying to avoid something here. I think it was maybe one of the boards was coming together there, and I didn't want it on a particular dovetail, so I literally just moved it down. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. Another thing that I noticed that I uncovered was right here. Have any of you guys ever needed a board stretcher? Well, that is what a board stretcher looks like. I just spliced in an 1/8 inch piece. The hole measured twice, cut once was a feature that hadn't been installed on the chop saws back then. Hey, look at this one thing I'd rediscovered. I vaguely remember doing this. Again, I made this like 27 years ago. This is a dovetail, and apparently just the little ear of that was gone. And since I was doing these by hand, I could kind of compensate using, well, what I had. I wanted to show you guys the top. So what happened is, over time, this is the top, it's upside down. Over time, it formed a crown running down the center. So down the center, it was kind of cupped. And so what I've done here is I've supported it on the edge. So supported along this edge and along the back edge, I've supported it, and I put some weight down the middle. Now, from experience, this is water. This is not antifreeze, but it's 1 gallon of water, 1 gallon of RV antifreeze, and 1 gallon of used motor oil. That combination in equal parts is by far the best hack to be able to take a crown out. And an oil finish is never going to be quite as shiny as the surface finishes, like a polyurethane. Every single finish, there's some pros and cons. The beautiful thing about this is, hey, if you ever mess it up, you can just touch it up. It's no big deal. So here we go. Proper application is, of course, an old sock. I read that on the back of the can. Now you just take that oil, you can see it there, and you rub it on, and here you can see it, and we're going to let it sit for a few minutes, but even there you can already tell there's some of that chicoiance that is showing up. This is just a beautiful, beautiful part of the wood. Sometimes it shows up where the tree has been damaged or where it's been stressed, and so there's probably a really good, life lesson in there. Okay, so she's all oiled up. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down here in just 1 minute, but I'm going to go ahead and call that a day. Enough distraction for the day. I need to get back to writing. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'm going to put the top on it, I'm going to have this all done, and I'm going to show you the final product. I left my main character and a couple others inside a freezing culvert outside of Anchorage, Alaska. I've got the U.S. Army and a whole bunch of other people searching for them, and I need to get in there and figure out how these guys are going to get away and save the day. So keep reading, keep writing, and God bless.